let's find out what's going on in Imo State. Now, it is worthy of note that in August 2024, the governor of Imo State, Mr. Hope Uzodimma, signed a memorandum of understanding with Owerri Electricity Company Limited to achieve the purpose of supplying power to the 27 local government areas. So this, of course, was built on that new law that was in 2023, the Electricity Act 2023, liberalizing the electricity sector to allow for participation of state and private sectors and in the area of renewable, and encourage private sector participation and encourage a more competitive and efficient electricity market. We've seen Imo State, they've localized that bill. They did it in May last year. Let's find out what improvements they have recorded after this, almost a year after it's been localized. And we are speaking with the Commissioner for Power and Electricity in the state, Engineer Wabueze Oguchieneti. He joins us now from Owerri, the capital. Good morning, Engineer, and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you, sir. So tell us how can you assess? It's almost a year since you domesticated the electricity law in Nigeria. You also signed that agreement with Owerri Electricity Company. What fruits do you have to show for these moves that you have made since the new law in Nigeria?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, you are right. Of course, with the constitutional amendment on the Electricity Act of 2023, the electricity, of course, was moved to the concurrent list, from exclusive list of the Constitution. And that empowered the subnationals to now play in that sector. So you're right. Here in Imo State, it's a transition, and we started very well. We had to comply fully with the Act, Section 230 of that Act. With that, having complied fully with that Act, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, that of course that has been responsible for the central management of Nigeria electricity supply industry, now had to granted the regulatory oversight of Imo electricity to us in Imo State. And of course, we went ahead to establish our own regulatory body, Imo State Electricity Regulatory Commission, ISEC. With ISEC in place, we now have to start granting licenses. We granted license to Owerri Electricity Company Limited. Owerri was granted the license to generate electricity, to transmit and also distribute electricity. And I want to say you're right, we now signed a memorandum of agreement with Owerri to now provide electricity across the 27 local governments of Imo State. That they have started. The first phase of Owerri's program to upgrade, develop the electricity transmission and the distribution network in Imo State has started with the construction of 50 kilometers, 132 kV transmission line from Owerri to Olo. It's important to note that Imo State electricity network was gradually underdeveloped. There was need for us to expand the grid and also upgrade some of the facilities. So Russia started first by expanding the grid by constructing a 132 kV, 50 kilometers of 132 kV from here in Owerri to Olo to link up two number 60 MVA transformers that's been lying there. With that, the whole of that area will now have capacity, adequate power going to them. So that's a milestone. So that program is now going on. The construction of that 50 kilometers, 132 kV is ongoing from Owerri to Olo. Also, Owerri has also started another 15 kilometers, 33 kV line, now from Olo to the Polytechnic in Omoma. and also with installation of 15 MVA 33/11 kV injection substation. Russia has also started doing another 15 kilometers of 33 kV distribution line from the transmission station here in Owerri at Ebu Road transmission station to New Owerri. There's another 15 kilometers to New Owerri. And there's also with installation of a 7.5 MVA injection substation. What we're now doing in this New Owerri is to now pick up some very important load in Owerri. In fact, this project we're doing in Owerri is more like a pilot scale to showcase what Orashi, wants to do different from what has been going on. Because we have also targeted about 3,000 customers that will immediately be connected to these 7.5 MVA as soon as it's completed. And we hope that this project will be completed about June, the 7.5 MVA injection substation in Owerri.
So, of course, we know that the issue of power is really capital intensive because it requires a lot of infrastructure. So, and I'm glad that you've given a timeline there that by June at least. But even in the midst of this, do you have renewables, renewable energy in your mix of planned electricity expansion?
Yeah, we do. We do have. Of course, like you rightly said, what is available on the grid is certainly not enough. So you must complement with renewable, particularly solar, option. And we are collaborating very closely with the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, to be able to reach out to communities that are unserved and underserved areas. The Rural Electrification Agency has an initiative that is called Tariff. That is what they've launched now. This program is intended to reach out to unserved and underserved areas across Nigeria. Of course, we are collaborating with them. It's important that we also, deploy renewable energy. Like I said, what you have on the grid is certainly for now cannot go around the whole country. So that is an option.
Okay, so is it just Orashi you're working with? Do you have other private sector participants or arm of government that's also working maybe on other parts so it can be accelerated? Any plan of such?
Orashi at the moment, of course, we know that with the setting in place, they have been granted license. And Orashi has been granted license to go into both generation, distribution, as well as transmission. And they've started. And so far, they are doing very well, and they were following up what they're doing. So that is position.
All right. So when we talk to discos, especially, we hear them complain of the tariff, that the tariff is not cost reflective or service reflective. That means that there's a disincentive for private sector investors to go in there. What are you doing about the issues around tariff and payment of bills by consumers?
Yes, of course, you know what you have currently in the state is the SOPCO. The EEDC that was, of course, managing electricity distribution across the Southeast state and the Imo state as well, by the order granting us regulatory oversight. What is remain of EEDC in Imo state now is a SOPCO, is a subsidiary of EEDC. So they now operate as a SOPCO. The tariff they are also currently running, we are looking at, obviously going into tariff methodology of our own. By the time we're able to, because it's a gradual process, when we're able to, get Orashi facilities in place, and we'll get it running. Mind you, we also have here in Imo State enough abundant gas supply at Ebwema, where we are doing also an Ebwema plant. So we are hoping that on completion of this plant, we'll be able to, have enough gas to generate enough power here in Imo State. So that if we're able to generate enough power in Imo State from this gas, yes, the issue of a tariff will be adequately handled. But at the moment, what is being run now is this cost-reflective tariff. That is what is being run at the moment. And of course, you know that you also have customers classified into bands. The customers on band A, are paying higher. Their tariff is higher, and down the line. So obviously, as we go on, the issue of tariff will be handled so that the people at the lower level will not be subjected to, high tariff.
And the other issue, which is a national issue, is metering. We've seen federal government make a lot of attempts, to ensure that every consumer has meters. Do you have your own program to ensure that residents in Imo State are metered, or are you still depending on the program and policies of the federal government to get consumers metered in Imo State?
Yes, you're right. The issue of metering has been a major problem. And of course, again, it was this issue of the people the various companies that took over the distribution of electricity in Nigeria by 2013. In my opinion, many of them were not really didn't have the necessary capacity to run the outfit. Because if you were taking over such an outfit, you know that you need to maintain. You also need to meter your customers. And over these years, customers were not metered. A lot of them will be subjected to unnecessary estimated billing, which has been a problem. So what we are now doing, these are transition. We are going to deal with some of these anomalies. Owerri, their current arrangement now with as I said, the pilot program we are running now in Owerri here. Owerri is going to start with metering 3,000 customers. The meters are down. The arrangement has to be sorted in place, yes.
So with all of these plans now, when can the residents of Imo State expect to actually feel this supply, the one from Owerri and all of the arrangements? When can they say, yes, from this period, we're going to have improved power, perhaps? If you have an idea of how many hours they can expect from a target period, that would be nice.
Thank you. Well, as I said, what we are doing here in Owerri, where we are doing 15 kilometers, of distribution line and installation of a 7.5 MVA transformer, we are using that. We're actually using that as a pilot, project. We are hoping to complete, as I said, this project by June. If we complete this project by June, customers who will benefit from it, because the 7.5 is not going to, supply electricity to the entire people in Owerri or in Imo. But as I said, that is going to be a ballot scheme to showcase what we would expect to have across Imo when we are done. So that, of course, is going to be true by about June, as I said. And if we do that, it is hoped that the availability on that feeder is going to be 24 hours. The availability on that feeder is going to be 24 hours, because the system will be built so that you're not going to have, regular, collapse of system. So we are looking at the customers who will be tied onto the Owerri scheme that is going to be commissioned, hopefully, between June and July, to have a supply 24 hours. That's going to be the availability on that feeder.
I hope at least Owerri can compete with Aba and what Governor Oti is doing in Abia State.
Sure. Whether we even do more than Aba, Owerri is going to become the hub, electricity hub in the south, in this zone. And the reason, as I said, is because we have the gas, enormous gas deposit here. It's going to be gas to power. You see, what we should understand about, development in the power sector, is a little bit more complex, because you have to deal with the issue of generation. You have to also come to transmission and distribution. So while we are now trying to expand the grid and also upgrade some of our facilities, some of the overloaded transformers, those are the issues that we're now beginning to deal with. As I said, the people who were operating this network before now did virtually nothing by way of upgrading the network or developing the network. So what we're trying to do now is to develop and also upgrade some of the overloaded facilities. And this is what is going to guarantee, reliable electricity supply. When you now have your transformers that are not overloaded, when you have your lines that are well, connected, and you don't need to, so long as You have power on the grid. You're going to have supply 24 hours. Anything that is going to result to not having power during that period might be a problem that's completely outside the state. Because if you have a problem with the grid, it will affect everywhere. Other than that, what we're not doing, particularly what Orashi is doing by the agreement we reached with them, is to ensure that they provide quality, affordable and reliable electricity across Imo State.
All right, thank you so much, and we look forward to that. We're counting down to June. After next month, next month is April, then we have June.
Yes,
engineer, we're going to remind you.
You know our governor, His Excellency, the recipient of Infrastructure Governor of the Year. He has done so much in the area of infrastructure, and we're replicating that in the power sector. So we are conscious of the time we're given. The work is ongoing as I speak to you now.
All right. Okay. Counting down. Maybe a lot of us will have to relocate to Owerri to enjoy the
yes. You really have to. You really have to.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Engineer Nwabueze Oguchienti, the Commissioner for Power and Electricity in Imo State.
Thank you. Thank you.